you know, I spend many weekends. In fact, I call this hunting season. Everybody else in the U.S. is blanketed with snow, or will be very soon, while we're down here soaking up the sun, taping hockey pucks on weekends while they're freezing. Many a times I send this across the net, hey, filmed another one. And they're freezing, thinking, God, you people in Arizona are lucky. They get 3 months out of the year. June, July, August is Skywatch. And it's time for snow again. I know, I grew up in the Midwest, that's why I moved here. The summer, we don't Skywatch, it's too hot. We spend the winter time. I fixed this camera to be ready for what I call hunting season. And hunting season has just begun.
And he is going to be the one that's on the spot when they come back. And that's our Arizona State Director, Tom King. Come on up here, Tom. Yeah.
Brought a few things down here to show you tonight. Since I've been hunting these UFOs for over 2 years now with my video camera. Like how Clint Eastwood hunts the great white buffalo, I've been hunting the almighty hockey puck for a long time now. And I'm very persistent and I'm very patient, and it's like fishing. Most of the time they're not biting, but certain months, certain times, they start to bite. Got lucky one night on March 13th, and I caught a big fish that night and shot a piece of footage I didn't think was too important that night, but the next day it seemingly was important because it was a night where we needed all the video we can get on whatever happened that night. But to do justice to the UFOs over Phoenix, you got to go back a little farther than March 13th, because that's not the first night they approached Arizona. They've been around a very long time. In fact, there's well over a dozen people in this city alone that have been seeing these objects who were able to get 35mm or video cameras to tape them also. And it's an important fact that I think people should look into. The media never covers it. They just want to get the March 13th, get the ratings and run. They don't care about what else is going on. But these objects are still flying around. We still have flaps going on. We've had one recently last month where these hockey pucks were showing up almost every weekend. I've shot them on VHS, Super VHS, digital, about any type of video camera you can name, and now I've got a few pictures on 35mm I need to blow up. I've been working on a side job for quite some time. Sometimes you have advantages of being too tall. I've had this side job, or side project, I've been working on for about a year now. And it's something in my little arsenal of electronic toys that I'm going to get to a little later on here during the presentation. But a minute here, we're going to start up some video that's going to go through some of the series of things to bring you up to speed on what I've seen and what I've taped that led up to the mass sighting. And there's a few people in the audience that have seen and taped these. In fact, the most recent footage I've heard about was about 15 minutes of daylight footage shot yesterday. I haven't seen it yet. We'll take a look at that as soon as possible here after the weekend. But we do a lot of Skywatches in Skywatch International. We did one last night. We had a lot of technology out in the field waiting for anything to show up, from night scopes to range finders, telescopes, video cameras, about anything we can get our hands on. And if they show up during one of our meetings, there's a good chance we can get them on 5, 6 video cameras and night vision and everything, and have a very well documented sighting. Sooner or later it'll work because we're a persistent group of people. Now, Video should be rolling here in a second. We're going to go into the hockey pucks. Let me skip to it and save some time because we got some other people that are speaking tonight. Unfortunately, the colonel wasn't here. I wanted him to see this collection of 2 years and thousands of dollars worth of hard work I've done. Got a little carried away on my pre-roll, I guess. But let's hope Ms. Barwood does get reelected. Let's make sure that happens when she runs. Everybody keep that in mind. What you're seeing here now is a series of daylight shots from videotape, small clips here and there, when I first started noticing these objects. When I seen these in the sky, I seen a lot of things in the sky. And after about a year, I was able to determine what 90% of these objects were. And most of them are just common airborne debris, whether it's the plastic grocery bag, balloon, mylar balloon, Virgin light ships. Pretty well seen and filmed all of them. A very small percent out of all this footage and all these things we see, we can't identify. They move in erratic fashions. They move, they stop, they zigzag around the sky. They travel in numbers, ones, twos, threes, sometimes more than that. And they're anything but a conventional object, an airplane or a helicopter. But most of the objects that people do see turn out to be plastic grocery bags, because we use binoculars and scopes with the video cameras to get a sharper look at exactly what we're videotaping. On some of these hockey pucks, what we see is basically what is similar to some of the photos that Wendell Stevens showed earlier in the day of a silvery disc that has a black silhouette on the bottom. It's my theory that maybe this is paint. We still don't know if it's paint or if it's just a dark silhouette on the bottom of some of these hockey pucks. But I do have one request from everybody in this audience. Next time you go to the grocery store and you buy groceries and they come in a plastic bag, if you drive a pickup or anything like that, you unload your groceries, do not drive down the street with this grocery bag in the back of your pickup. Because when you go on the highway, this grocery bag will fly out the back of your pickup. And I'm just sick of filming these things and looking at them. So let's try and keep the atmospheric garbage down to a minimum. But one of the things I did learn from watching these things is they love the clouds. These things just love them. They'll sit up there. They'll look like a little white dot up 30,000 feet, 5 miles above your head. Looks like a speck, like you're looking at the bottom of a disc. And you got to think, you know, if you see a plane, all you see usually are vapors or a little small thing of a plane at 30,000 feet. You know, if you can see a pretty large dot going through these clouds a couple of miles away, it's a sizable object. But they will dart and do a rapid acceleration into clouds when detected on video quite often, as seen in this clip. And another thing is when they go into these clouds, they're still illuminating. So the sun's not illuminating these things. Sometimes they're self-luminous. You can have clouds everywhere. They'll go under the clouds. They'll still be glowing white. But for most of the objects we see look like these 20-foot little hockey puck discs. There's something that flies around quite a bit. You can tape it. I don't think I have any special power or anything like that. I think you just spend time out with your camera. You're going to shoot these too, because I know a lot of people around town shooting them. We took a clip from the computer, what you're looking at here, and we saved it in a computer. Now, this is absolutely no computer work done to this image. This is a raw capture with just a little arrow zooming in on the computer image, and this is what we got. This was shot on October 8, 1995. When I seen this, I went, looks a lot like Mexico City. Has the black bottom part to it, a little bit of a distortion field around the edges, kind of a blurring, and a small white dome on the top of it. So I decided to take this image and do some enhancements on it to see if I can get some more resolution out of it. Still looked like a hockey puck. No matter what I did to this, I couldn't bring out any helicopter blades at the top, no wings, And the object was rotating counterclockwise very rapidly in video. So about a year after I shot this video, I decided to take a second look into the video since I had some upgraded computer equipment to see, you know, some more images in front and behind it, what I can find out of those with resolution. And those will be coming up in a minute. I want to move on to March 13th. That was the night Bill Hamilton called me when we were scheduled to meet anyway and said, hey, we got this exciting case to look into. Why don't you bring all your video gear? Usually you don't get calls on something like this around town, so I packed up pretty much everything I had at the time, put it in the trunk, and we met him, and we ended up going over to Steve Blunder's house. And it was kind of a crazy scene. It was hectic. Everybody's running in and out. You just missed it, and kind of got us excited. Like, something maybe's going on. You know, hopefully we didn't miss it. He showed us a series of videotapes he shot for 3 days, and quite a bit of it was out of focus, and we weren't really able to determine what he was seeing. On the tapes, these could have been planes. Usually, when you investigate something like this, this is the case of what happens. You know, it doesn't turn out to be unknown. It's usually a conventional thing. But we asked him, you know, take us to where you shot him. So we went up on the balcony, and they pointed in all these directions. We seen to the south, to the west, to the north. They've seen these things everywhere for 3 nights. They've been living in this neighborhood for 2 years, and they've never seen military flares at all, even though they've been tested there for almost 2 decades now down at the Berry Goldwater Range. At approximately 9:40, this first object showed up, and you're seeing it right now on tape. This is pointed to the south, partial southeast. This is the orange light. What the military says are flares. It's up to you to make your mind up on that. I'm not here to convince you if they are or if they're not. I'm pretty much just a cameraman. I'm very lucky. I go to places where they're sighted. I bring my equipment. I'll drop on the dime to film these things. Whether they're flares or not, we'll move on to another case and another video. But we're going to get into some of the daylight shots in here, which I've worked on. I haven't really given these out to the TV shows or anything. What you're seeing now is where that object was. It was over these houses right here in the area of these palm trees, very low. Over to the right, you can see the mountain ridge that Bill could see through his telescope when the objects were below the mountains. Yeah.
If you're pointing your camera towards the southeast, aren't you pointing it towards the freeway from Highway 2 and they're not going towards the gunnery range?
The freeway would be 45 degrees over that way, or so Interstate 10. No, we're not shooting directly south. We're shooting over this way a little bit. So it's towards the gunnery range, because the gunnery range is so big it covers a huge swipe from south to southwest pretty much. But this area here, the thing to look at is this little window up here. Remember the windows on that house, because they're going to show up in this video. And they'll show you exactly where these objects were. Let me turn the original audio up so you can hear this.
Yeah, it does look that's like why it's so yellow when there's the 2 of them making.
This is the location. This is Steve right here. He's the one who kind of got it. There's Rhonda, pool, puppy. Let's get back to the saucer.
I don't know if I'm tall enough.
Now, since we've seen the first object and taped it, we were already set up for when this series had happened.
I got another spotting scope somewhere here if somebody wants to look through that too. There's 2 side by side. This is slightly different.
There's another one. Oh, look. One, two. There's another
Wait,
one.
where?
There's another one, too.
Where? Oh,
See the house light under the set that starts lighting
no,
up?
we're just excited. We're not.
They keep coming.
Wait, I see. Whoa, look at them.
I got that one on video.
There's 4 of them. Look at there's 3 of them all together.
I got the 3rd one popping in.
There's the windows of the house.
I got
up there.
4 of them.
Right over the
Major
roof.
sighting
And the
here.
sighting just happened. It's going to go on for over 3 minutes now, and they're not going to drop an inch.
Whoa.
Maybe somebody's setting up lights.
No, those are in the
In
sky.
fact, it even appears towards the end of the video they might have went even higher and over to the right a little
I
bit.
can't see how this works. How does this work?
Holy shit. No. They're lined up in a pattern, man. There's geometry behind
There's something
that.
else you should know.
I can't even
This
get
video was 5 minutes and 26 seconds long.
Man, this is
The rest of the videos on March 13th are in the 3-minute range.
Four, Bill. Bill, over here, there's four.
5 cameras are simultaneously taping the
top
same
right
object.
now.
How come we all have different record times? Maybe we're not taping the same
I don't know,
object
but I
in the
got it
same
on tape.
location. Maybe a similar looking object is moving around to
What does
different
it look like,
locations.
Bill?
Because where Mike Christian's footage was
They
is
look
not
like,
the direction I was pointing in when I taped this footage. I was not pointing directly west, which would have been where
yeah, they're
I would have
spears
had to
now.
shoot to get his footage. I was pointing to the southwest.
Yeah, they just
Southwest.
transformed into circles right now, right as you were talking. Now they're not spears.
Well, see, the way we saw them,
Hey, Stephen Greer missed out, didn't he, Bill?
I don't think he'll think that one was funny.
Nope. This isn't first for me. I have similar video of this from other people.
See, that one,
see,
that
these are
one's
just, you
drifting.
just see little orange things. That's, the way we were seeing them, when you see them big,
See a gyro.
they're big and they're moving and they have an eye to them.
Do you see an eye? Like a bullseye?
No.
Yeah, that's the loner object that's in every video. It was in the Hudson Valley sightings. It seems to trail or
Out of focus
the
here.
main group of lining objects. It seems to almost
We
get
got major
closer to
hockey
the
puck
group
activity.
towards the end of the video. And it's a very important object because almost all the
I
videos
think
have
that one
them,
on the
and you can
left may
calibrate the
split in
timing
half.
of
It's-
that object in every video to see the consistency. How long is it on in every video?
How many
And the
is
same
there? I
with the
got
rest of them.
4.
Actually, the witnesses, the 2 girls in the background, reported seeing 2 more
Behind a
objects
tree.
that I wasn't able to get on tape. But
I
after they
got
got
3
a copy
lined
of this,
up.
they said, you didn't get all of them. We seen 2 extras. Where they were, I don't know.
Oh no,
But
I
didn't
forgot
see
to hit the record button.
them. It can always be a joke, even while sighting.
Yeah, I'm
you know.
just
You can't take
kidding.
everything too seriously. But by now, on the other Phoenix videos, they would be over. But we're still rolling. Even though 3 videos from that night captured the entire sequence, including this one, but this one's longer. So there's a lot
Anybody
of
got a
little weird
still
things
camera,
when you look into
35
these
millimeter?
videos.
Hey, look, the one in the middle is
just don't
doing
fit
something. It's
altogether.
going out of alignment. Yeah, it's going out of alignment. It's dropping.
See, as the video
No, the one
started,
in
when
the
the
middle
4 of them
is
were over the
dropping
house, if these were
slightly, and
flares dropping 500
it's,
feet a minute
ooh,
as
the one on
named
the
in the
right's
MUFON
blinking.
Field hand manual,
No, that's
how
because it's
come they
going
didn't drop
down the
below
tree
this
now.
house yet? In fact,
They're
it almost looks
definitely
like they might
moving.
have raised up higher because the wide angle shot, it appears that the objects are either at the same
No,
altitude or
one
they
is
could
what
have
behind a
even went
tree or
up.
something.
But I'm sure they went over to the right a
one on
little
the
bit.
right
The
will
entire
be gone in a minute. as soon as
array
it
of
goes behind
lights
some-
had moved to the right, as I said on camera, because they went behind a palm tree, and that's why I couldn't see them anymore. They're disappearing behind some palm tree.
Yeah,
now.
let's go in a minute here. Okay, number 2. We're down to 1. It's winking out or something.
Now, this is the shot from the daytime of that house and those windows, and the palm trees where the objects seem to have disappeared. Now, this is a pretty hard thing to line up and do an overlay on because there aren't a lot of references in the footage I shot. There's a few shaky things here and there of the windows, and it takes some time to try and pinpoint where all of these sources of light are on this tape because my camera is a very high-lux camera and doesn't film very good at night, so it didn't get all the nice details of these mountains. But I did a kind of a summary overlay where these objects seemed to be a while back, and they were approximately around this position. Later, I spent more time on the breakdown of the lights and went over and redid this even more. But this is approximately where these lights were. They were below treetop level. They were near the mountain ridge. And this is another graphic provided by Jim Delatesso where I placed an approximate position where I would say these lights were in relationship to the Estrella Mountains. And they were so close, they didn't seem like these things were 50 miles away like the military tries to tell me. These objects, those 4 objects, I measured this on the computer, take up exactly 50% of the screen of a 14-power camera. If something's 15 miles away, this string of lights should be a tiny little configuration on video, not taking up 15%. These things were close. They were only a few miles away. They were within the area of the Australis. Now, I don't understand where the military tells me something they did was 50 miles away and then changed their story all the time. If I changed my story the way the military did every other week, I don't think I'd be standing up here. Said the same thing I said the next day to Channel 15. I'll be saying the same thing 25 years from now. What I seen didn't look like no flares. I don't think they're flares. I think the military's full of crap, and they're just trying to squash this sighting. They're trying to demean what happened here on March 13th, which is a number of very large objects flew over. We don't know who built them. We don't know who they are. But MUFON, along with the military, is trying to muddy the waters on this sighting to demean it down to nothing, probably because they can't get their name, their claim, and money off this thing somehow. That's what I think. I shot it. That's my opinion. And I don't think they're flares. I broke all these videos apart down into sequences, numbered these things from 1 to 9, timed how long every single light on this video is on tape, and broke them down into sequences. When does the light turn on? When does the light turn off? How long is each light on each videotape? And I did it to all the tapes except the doctor's. And you would think that if these are flares and we're all shooting from 5 cameras, flares at the same point, then that, let's say, light number 5, and all the video should be on for, let's say, 2 minutes. And light number 4 would have a consistency throughout these videos for, say, 1:59. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen at all. There are, the bizarre thing is there's almost no consistencies in these charts. This is a simple process using computer editing software, which I have called ULEAD version 2.0. You can use anything on it. You dump it in, you mark the in and out points, and you put it in a graph. And the bizarre thing is when these lights blink off in all these videos that you've seen when Bill started, they kind of look similar, but when you start counting the pattern they blinked off on, none of them are the same. None of them match. There are a couple matching factors, though. Mike Christian's video seems to correlate with the video shot by Terry McLaren at 10 o'clock. My video seems to be shot at the same time that Chuck Reardon shot his video near 10 o'clock. But these things seem to be in 2 places. I shot lights at the south end of the Estrella Mountains. Mike Christian's footage was at the northern part. There's no way I was taping what he was taping. There's no way he could even see where I was taping because it's blocked by North Mountain you see on the side, the hill. He can't see where I'm taping. So we got an alignment in 2 different spots that's identical and almost perfect, but the pattern of the lights is totally off. I numbered them 1 through 9, and you can basically calibrate the way the objects look. Now, throughout the sightings, the loner object on the side, object 1, is close to the array in some of the videos, and in some of the other videos it's farther apart. And if these are 2 different sightings from 2 different locations at 2 different periods between 9:50 and just after 10 on March 13th, they're almost identical throughout the night. Now, that would be pretty hard for the military to keep dropping these identical flare chains like this within a couple of minutes. Have the A-10s get out of there, never seen by any of the eyewitnesses, and didn't show up on radar. But let's just forget that. Let's just believe it's flares because that's easier to sleep at night and live with it. It's the way the skeptics handle it. But this is some of the computer work I've done. I'm going to upload this soon on the internet for people to study themselves and go over the numbers themselves, come up with their own theories. Not a mathematician. I've just done some simple work on the videos. This is where I told you that this light of objects takes up 50% of the screen. Now, I've also went to Barry Goldwater range. I shot flares from approximately the same range I was from these lights with the exact same Hilux camera I shot these lights on. And they're somewhat close because they're a few miles away from me. But, and here we go. Here's the flares. You'll notice on the top of this object is a little pillar of smoke. It's a little kind of soft hat-looking thing. That's what it looks like when you shoot smoke through, or when smoke shows up on a video camera. It looks like this. They're similar
to what we've seen on March 13th, but they're not the same. They don't look the same visually. There's a little bit of a similarity on video. But these are two objects now, and they're about to drop behind some mountains. And when they drop behind mountains, as the theorists, flare theorists say, that we shot these things way over Estrella's and they were down at North Tack. Why didn't we see the mountains illuminated? Well, you will in this shot when the flares drop below the mountains, and it didn't do anything like that in our footage. So take a look at this and look for yourself. Yeah.
I live in Lincoln County, Nevada, which is the county where Area 51 is. When I stood under F-15 as it dropped flares, they seemed to fall at a very natural rate. They were supposed to fall away from aircraft, so that the missile would follow the flares from the ground. Also, I seem to be the only person in the county who hasn't seen this giant triangle that flies around during the daytime.
Did you see how these things fell below that mountain? Did anybody see that on the March 13th tapes? See them falling behind Estrella Mountain and Mike Christian's footage like that? But those were military flares, and that is a 1-hour drive away from where I taped these lights on March 13th. It took me 50 minutes to get down there. And to me, it really doesn't matter anymore what the military's newest story is this month. Now they're 15,000 feet in the air, and probably next month there'll be another altitude and another position in Arizona. I'm tired of following what they're saying. I've moved beyond that. It doesn't matter to me if these were flares or not. There's other things to pursue. There's more sightings to go after. These objects are still flying around. And the side job I was working on, well, I've gotten that done. And I'm testing it now. And what it is, it's a very high-powered video camera, where most video cameras will shoot 10 to 20 optical power with a possible digital power up to 100. This camera has an almost unlimited optical power base. It shoots between 100 to 1,000 optical power. And you can take a real serious look at anything you're looking at with this thing. In fact, there's so much power I had to downscale it. When I tested it at 998 power 2 weeks ago, I decided that was just a little too much. As I was on South Mountain aiming at some of the high-rises downtown, and if I fine-tuned it, I could basically see how crooked someone's teeth are in a building downtown from South Mountain. And it's a little too much power for that, but let me show you what this thing is. This is my new secret weapon. I call it the super camera. And here's a test I shot on the moon just last night. I have more of these at home. This is a prototype. I plan on building many more of these for many other Skywatchers in Arizona. And it's about time somebody took some serious technology and went skywatching with it, I think. And I think that it's just a matter of time now, during my ventures out there skywatching, until the time comes when these little hockey puck images I started out with, that we blew up, maybe they'll look like this without a blow up with this camera. The time will tell. And I'm going to be hunting them with this new camera. And that's going to be my new mission for the next year or two, is to keep maximizing on this laser super camera and shoot the best footage somebody can possibly shoot. And I'm just doing the best I can with the equipment I have, and I hope there's many other people out there doing this too. If anybody has any questions, I'll answer them now. If not, I'll turn this over to Bill. Yeah?
Have you gotten thought about building these or on request?
Excuse me, I couldn't hear that.
Thought about building these on request?
I've thought about it. Once I've shot, if I shoot something like this on it, I'm going to upload the plans on the internet, where you can order this stuff and machine it. It's cost me about $3,000 to build it, including the video camera. It can be done much cheaper. You can basically, your power's unlimited, your lines of resolution, it's up to your wallet. You can do a lot with it. Most of the technology exists in astronomy shops. You just got to piece it all together.
What camera are you using with it?
I'm using an AG450 Super VHS camera. Somebody here has one just like it. But, Ms. Francis, do you have any questions?
Yeah, you were gonna show how you could make that, what you took better with your new.
Yeah, I'm test driving the super camera now.
No, I meant, I thought you were gonna do it through the computer and make it sharper.
That's what I had done with it. This is, let me just back speed this. This image is just slightly enhanced from the original image on tape. That's, as far as I can tell, that's what these things are.
And that matches what's in Mexico.
Exactly, pixel by pixel. And they're here, and they're spread out. I think they're everywhere, really. You just got to take the time to look up, and you know, I spend many weekends. In fact, I call this hunting season. Everybody else in the U.S. is blanketed with snow, or will be very soon, while we're down here soaking up the sun, taping hockey pucks on weekends while they're freezing. Many a times I send this across the net, hey, filmed another one. And they're freezing, thinking, God, you people in Arizona are lucky. They get 3 months out of the year. June, July, August is Skywatch. And it's time for snow again. I know, I grew up in the Midwest. That's why I moved here. The summer, we don't Skywatch. It's too hot. We spend the winter time. I fixed this camera to be ready for what I call hunting season. And hunting season has just begun. Well, I'll turn this over to Bill now. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it.